Malolele and welcome from the Kingdom of Tonga. Linda Mawe is your host, and this is the fourth program. And the program, for those of you who are new, is called AlphaOmega-AO-Tonga Economic Development Discourse. This is the fourth program, and we are conducting it in English, primarily for investors out there who are coming across this program, who have interest in investing in Tonga, whether it's something on the land or sea or air. This program will really help you. But right here with me, this is our fourth program, as I said. We will do the programs in Tongan and in English. Tongan for our Tongan people, and in English for investors out there. So welcome to our kingdom. My name is Linda, as I say, and now this is the fourth program. Right here in our studio, with me is Tonga, only one urban and regional town planner, who is Mr. TUKUA TONGA. We did the first three programs, and I brought him in because this will really benefit you. So if you're watching, welcome. I can see some people watching from Utah already, and welcome to you, Sisi. But let me introduce to you Mr. TUKUA TONGA, and it is really a blessing to have TUKUA and all his experiences here in Tonga for the last 30 years. So you can't go wrong by having Mr. Tonga in the program. And as I say, investors out there, this program is supposed to guide you and know who to come to when you want to do development in Tonga. Let me introduce Mr. TUKUA TONGA. Once again, TUKUA, we welcome you to the program. And already we have some great feedbacks from our customers from all over the world. They talk to me about how they didn't know where to start, and they've been thinking of Tonga. But anyway, I'll let you say hi to our customers, and we'll come back and move on with the program.
Thank you very much, Linda, and welcome everybody. This is our fourth session, and we're going to do this in English for the benefit of our Tongan speakers.
All right, thank you. Now, right here, where the camera is, this is what we've been based our program on. It says National Spatial Planning and Management Act 2012, and it's got Act number 7 of 2012. TUKUA, just a little recap. The past two programs I did myself, but I think you're going to do this one. For those who's just coming onto the program, why was that brought to life? Why was it? This is an economic development, no doubt, policy. But can you elaborate on it? How did it come about?
It's the law. Just going back and just a brief background on this. After the 1611 national incident in Nuku'alofa, where Nuku'alofa got burned down, His Majesty George V took it to rebuild Nuku'alofa. Sadly, it happened, but it was an opportunity to try and rebuild Tonga, to bring it into the next millennium.
Right. Okay.
And basically, that's how the act came to be. It was in the process, and was in two folds. First one was the political reform, and the other, which somehow seems to everybody's forgotten about, was the development reform in order to realign to the new political reform that we're having. So basically in 2012, that's how it came to be. It was now gazetted, and it's now part of the law of Tonga.
Right. Okay. So that's what happened, and I think our viewers have got that. But the problem is, and there's a problem, and can I ask you if you can relay, what is the problem? We have a law in place, and for anybody who wants to come, what is the problem?
The problem, Linda, is it's the basic one. Everything is basically the development in Tonga at the moment, is, as I see it, is an urban planner. It's disjointed.
Disjointed.
Disjointed. It's not connected, and it's non-functional in terms of course, that impacts on our people in here in Tonga and their livelihoods, which is sad to say. But, we do have an opportunity to rewrite, bring it back into line and into development. Yes.
Well, that's from a town planner's perspective. The development in Tonga at the moment is, you heard it, disjointed, dysfunctional, bit chaos.
Well, we're sort of bordering.
Borderline. Right, okay. However, we won't dwell there. We need to move on. We need to move on and find the solutions, because we have great investors out there that would like to come. So we have come, and this is why the program is on. Tukua, let's just, let's say if I'm an investor from overseas and I want to come to the friendly island, the Kingdom of Tonga. What is the map? Where do I start?
Thank you. I think with the Act itself here, it just realigns the development in Tonga in uniform in terms of our infrastructure. But the beauty of it, it says in the Act, section 19, it says all development, and I mean all development, needs a development plan.
Can you break down just a few examples of what are all developments?
All development, none is exempt except for the King's project. It's by royal command.
Right.
All development,
right,
whether it's macro, micro, at all levels, need a development consent.
A consent.
And when you need a development consent, it must come in the plan.
Right.
There are good reasons for that, very good reasons, because it then provides the community the ability to participate in the projects, and you get a feedback. You develop that ownership, and you empower the people to really think about their futures, and that's one of the beauty of the Act. It just brings into life the voices of the community and what they want and what they think they need, and not the other way around. And if they don't think they need it, then sorry, the community is always right.
Right. Okay. You've given me so much meat at the moment about development. I think if we did hear Tukua, there's so much meat in this one last minute. But let me take it back. So you're saying I'm opening up the Act, Part 4, Planning and Development Assessment. And on it, you're referring to 29, right? It's got development needing consent. Number 1, it says, all development needs consent. Now, I'm going to ask you later on, how do I get the consent? How can one get the consent? Because this is probably when one becomes a headless chook. Headless chook. But how can one get a consent? Now, there's an exemption to it. We will talk about it as well, except the King's project. Now, that's what the law here. I think the question is then, the next one, all consent must be obtained, but how can I get the consent? Where? How? And is there a time frame?
Yes. Firstly, what's all good about this, there is a time frame. The time frame is very specific, but the process, if I could dwell on it in brief, once you do the development consent, you submit it to the Ministry of Infrastructure to ensure that the building code and basically to ensure that the building, its integrity of the building, it's appropriate and it's habitable, and then from there it moves to the Ministry of Police in terms of the fire department, having a look at their fire systems, and from there to the public health,
Right.
Ministry of Health, Public Health, to ensure the sanitation is appropriate in terms of its design, and and from there it goes to the Ministry of Infrastructure, back to the Ministry of Department of Environment Department, where it's assessed for the EIA.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can do a EIA and SIA.
SIA. What is
Social impact assessment, and environmental impact assessment. Sometimes they join it, but it depends on the nature of the purpose of the project. And then from there, they resubmit everything else to the National Spatial Planning Authority Office, where it's assessed in terms of the relevancy of the projects, in terms that meets all the routed authorities, and then there they issue a development consent.
Okay. I think what I need to ask, number one, there's a lot of questions to be asked here, Tukua,
Yes.
if I'm the investor. Now, what are the time frame for going from A to B to C to D? Let's say if I have a house, and let's say I was a bit late in drawing the map, and I want to get it done, start the working within about 4 weeks time, and I'm running a little bit late. What are the time frame of moving from map to the Ministry of Infrastructure, to sanitation, to fire, to EIA, and to the national planning?
Yeah, thank you very much. The process in terms of the timeline was very specific in the regulations that was drafted. For major projects, major project, it will take 1 month.
1 month,
Yeah,
for the route.
For the routing before it gets back. For the minor projects,
Like a house.
like building a house,
Yeah.
Residential, that type, that's only 2 weeks.
2 weeks at the most.
At the most.
Right, okay. So that's the time frame you're talking about. Is that a reality at the moment? Is it happening?
Definitely no.
Definitely not.
Not.
Why is it?
It's just because the Planning Act itself, with the regulation, hasn't been passed. There is no timeline. Simple as that. And when that happens, it creates a really environment where the investors, for example, as you have said, it puts a lot of pressure, creates frustration, because time and money for investors are different. They must, get the project up and going.
Within a time frame.
The time frame.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that time frame, it'll create that chaotic environment in terms of timing. You get delays here, you get unnecessary delays here, and all sorts. But with the regulations they drafted, there was very transparent, and of course, the investor would know where it is in terms of when he gets back to us and we keep them informed along the way. It says there in the Act that they must be informed. All client and proponents must be informed at all stages. There is no such thing like that now.
Now, that inform has to be done in terms of, in way of reports,
Yes.
at every stage.
They usually have an agent who
Right.
they liaise with us under the Act, and we liaise with them on basically on a 2-day
basis.
And we keep them informed, and of course he keeps his client informed at all time. So everybody, it creates that harmonious
Relationship,
the relationship between the client and the agency.
Right.
But the good thing is there is a clause there.
There's a clause.
There's a clause
in here. In
the
here.
act,
Yeah.
yes, in the act, where if one agency decides to spend a lot of time on it without necessary accountability to why it hasn't, the authority, having been informed, he will issue a continuance. So whoever that ministry is, they would have to he would issue that development consent. They will catch up in terms of complying with the necessary paperwork.
Right.
That's how powerful the act is.
Now, this is very, very interesting. And I think if there's any investors or somebody who will be coming along and pick up this program, there are time sensitivity framework within the actual policy itself. But I quite like that, because when investors are in whatever country, time and money and strategies, they all go together. And if timing here doesn't match their program, then what do they say? Time is money, right? Time is money. So there's very good point you're bringing out there, but I want to bring, now we've talked about the route of how development is going to go through and to obtain a consent. What I want to know is, so obviously some things are not moving smoothly as it should be, but that's not the focus of this program. The focus of this program is we find solutions. If it's not happening, what can be done to move mountains so that it will attract investors to come and they know that things are moving. You touched on after the EIA and the SIA. Before I go to the next stage, can you elaborate or clarify? I mean, this is new kind of talk to us. What is SIA?
It's social impact assessment.
What does it do?
Well, for an example, you have a project that dwells on the culture side of things. The emphasis is then the community. It deals specifically with that community and how it affects them and the consequences of the project.
Right.
That's one project. For an example, if there was a beach and investor decided to develop it into tourism.
Right.
EIA, of course, will happen, but they will also be requested to do a SIA, social impact assessment. The emphasis is being looking at getting people to participate, and it says there in the act, and people must participate at all stages of the planning.
Let's say it's a village beach. Let's say it's a beach that a particular village have been very proud. It is their beach, and they're proud about it. So how do we bring them so that they can be part of discussing what this investors is wishing to do in their beach?
First and foremost, it'll be acknowledged during the preliminaries. The beach, it belongs. Well, the beach doesn't belong to anybody, really, unless you're leasing it. It all belongs to the Crown. To the Crown. Yeah, at the high water mark. So it all belongs there. But certainly, it affects the village. Of course. In terms of their livelihoods.
Yeah, their livelihoods. Yeah.
It requires them. The emphasis on that project is that they do a SIA. Not only the EIA, but the SIA, they will have to do that as well. So that creates that balance, interest,
Yeah.
Within the with the donor
Yeah.
or the investor having a balanced interest with the people on the beach.
On the beach.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
They had to come to that.
They must come to it.
Yes.
Right. And it's important for our people. So when investors are in town, and if, like, for example, we've been talking about a beach, as you say, it is, it's the Crown's beach, but they are the one who's there every day and they have a feel about it, their tradition. And it's important that we go to the consultations, not just staying at home and too busy doing the tutu and the ngatu and the cooking or go to a funeral. Because when you let that opportunity go, you let the opportunity of your voice missing out as well. But I want to take it to the actual body. The actual body that will issue the consent. It says here, all development needs consent, but who is the actual body that needs to do it?
Thank you, Linda. That's a very important question. There is, under the Act, it's created it's what you call a advisory committee to the planning authority. His other hat is also the Minister of Lands. See how they connect. But individually under the Act, they function, and management of the administration management of the Act is different. That's done by the advisory committee and the National Planning Authority. Now, the committee consists of. It was suggested at the time that because it dealing with the national interest,
with the whole nation, yeah,
it was the king, the chair, and the deputy, and the deputy chair would be the prime minister. It creates that the oneness and the environment to drive the development in Tonga. So basically that was the idea. And of course the members would be the constituents, members of parliament.
Right.
They will have to come and present their plans,
right,
in terms of development. Because I believe they're getting what, 500,000 at the moment?
Right. For the economic development of their
constituents.
Right.
They will have.
They must have a plan.
They must have a plan. They must. There will be at time to time. They will be consulted with the actual advisory committee sitting in and seeing where it goes. Very interesting.
It is.
It drives everything at all levels.
Yeah.
As you know, what was brought up at the summit, that should not have happened with the private sector, and even just the business people itself, in general. You're hearing that being repeated every year. That shouldn't happen. Anyway.
Okay, I'll come back to that, but there's a couple of points that I want to, or maybe one, and I'll come back to that. So, in my mind, who's driving or supposed to be driving economic development in Tonga? Now, that's a crucial question. But what you're saying from what has been written under this Act number 7 of 2012, the King, His Majesty, because it's his people, his land, his nation, and whoever's going to be the PM, they will sit on that seat. Now, in November, we might have a new one, we might not have a new one, I don't know, but it's totally up to the people. What comes to mind is they must be in a harmonious relationship for the interest of the people. We can think differently, and that's human being. But it comes to mind that every PM was going to be sitting, the king will always be king. His Majesty will always be His Majesty. But whoever, and he will stay, whoever's going to come onto that seat for every 4 years, or after the 4 years, or maybe after the 18 months, there will be what seems to be a habit now in Tonga, a vote of no confidence. Whoever's going to sit on that seat must have a harmonious, or would be able, or should be able, or must work with the king of the land, because they have one purpose: to develop the nation. Now that's crucial. Is it a message? Because otherwise development won't happen. Economic development won't happen.
I think the situation we're in at the moment, it's unfolding. When we had the act, we were wondering, how is this gonna happen? How is this gonna pan out? But slowly, it's sort of coming to fruition with the political reform. I mean, taking off, and they forgot about the development reforms that we're supposed to have.
And that's not good for us, is it?
No, it's not. At the end of the day, it affects people's lives.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Well, it's not a problem. It's something that is a challenge, but we need to really address that. And basically what the Act does, it brings together the vision of the King, what he sees for his people, and the resources. It brings in to marry the vision of the government of the day. Because if one
The
of the
government of the day. Yes.
If the government of the day decides to have in cabinet, have their own, and it doesn't really
Agenda.
it doesn't really have a successful marriage with how other visions are, right? Then you're fighting a battle in itself.
Right, okay. Now it's really clear. It's this talk, I find it really interesting because it obviously come to mind. I mean, that's what the policies say, that for economic development to happen, we have got a law, an act in place, just waiting for a government, to come and implement, and also implement the body, the actual body that will be in charge of running this whole thing, which is the National Planning Authority. Isn't that the body that will bring the consent to everybody's hand? So is this body happening or not happening? And if so, what can be done?
It's partly used.
Partially
Used. When you get a stop work order, they see it fit to use this act. Yeah?
Right.
Now, if the client decides to appeal the decision, they haven't got an appeal process to appeal to, even though the act says that the Planning Authority Advisory Committee must be established in order to issue and deal with, and also in there, the judiciary, the planning court, to deal specifically with those issues. When you don't have that, it still doesn't work, because you're open to abuse of office.
Open to abuse.
Open to abuse when it's not, you know very well, you shouldn't be using it unless it's fully armed, with all the legal provisions in place. And when that's not, but they're using it to stop things, but if the client decides to appeal, they haven't got
a place to go to.
So that creates a lot of problems.
Okay, let me just get it right, and just because we have people listening. So it's partially used. So we have a National Planning Authority, partially used, and they'll be issuing the consent, right? But if there's a complaint about whatever it is that they want to complain about, there's no body to go to, right?
Right.
There's no excellent body. And that's not good for our development. It will issue stop work order. Now, can you elaborate on what because here am I very happy to carry on with my economic development. And then all of a sudden I'm slapped with a stop work order. What is a stop work order and why is it issuing?
It's basically a stop work order when you don't go through the process, and you build, which some of them do. They started putting foundation and then wall and then slowly trying to get a development consent. And when the authority finds out the situation,
The partial arm, right?
Finds out, they issue a stop work order. However, when certain people, there's certain cases where they apply for development consent, and of course there's no time frame, and it just goes on and on. They're waiting, and when that happens, of course they start with frustration. They start building their building,
right?
And then authority finds out that they built it. Start building it, they issue a stop work order. And when they appeal, there's no one to appeal to.
So it will then leave things to abuse, right?
That's right.
Because the same people that stop it, it's going to be the same people who have the partial power. It will be the same people that will issue the continuance of the program. I want to bring the conversation to a couple of things, and I think, because our time is moving, but it's very interesting. Number one, you did say that there's an exception to the rule, and the exception is His Majesty's and his properties, right? Or and his development, and also the stop work order, and also the consent. I want to weave these three things. We'll take, for example, because the public knows, the Polataane Estate Project. Polataane Estate Project was a project of His Majesty, right? In his own property. There was a stop work order issued, right? There was a stop work order issued. I'd like you to use that as an example, because no point talking about policy, and it's more like out there with the people, with the customers. We need to have something that happened, so to actually clarify or bring to a much more lighter position. How did that work? That stop work order? Was there anything that wasn't done according to plan? And if His Majesty's project is exempt from the rules, then who did it? Why did it do it? And what happened?
Thank you, Linda. It's one of the, had it happened, it would have been one of the historical projects, not only for His Majesty's, but Tonga as a whole. What happened was we processed that through the normal procedure of the planning process, which is what we went through earlier.
And you yourself being the only town planner, you know it. You know the process.
Yes. And unfortunately, because of the act it's not complete. There are legal provisions in the act that needs to be in place in order to advance the project.
Like what?
For an example, had we known that there were certain delays, basically unnecessary delays in the project, we would have appealed the project to the planning authority. But of course, there is no planning authority. And that sort of squashed everything. But what they stood by was the stop work order. So when that process is not clear...
Did they have the power?
They have the power to issue a stop work order under the Act.
Under the Act.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other provisions, for an example, like I said, the client wants to appeal it. You can't, because there is appealing process is not in place. You don't have the advisory body.
Right.
Or the planning court, which runs through it quickly. And of course, that it amounted to what I call unnecessary delays, which didn't benefit anyone.
How long did it take? Because the norm, you mentioned it should be about what, 14 days?
4 weeks for major projects like that.
Right.
It took 3 months.
3 months.
Yes.
It's triple.
That's triple.
Yeah. But go back, if you can just finish answering that question. See, the law says there's an exemption, His Majesty's and his project. It was his own project.
Yeah. You know, when you write a project, I'm just thinking ahead. If you put something to law, you trust in the law.
You trust the law.
It's not His Majesty's fault.
Yeah.
It's the government's fault.
Yeah.
For not completing the due process and bringing to life the planning act.
Right. Yeah. Bring that to life, because that's what will safeguard.
Safeguard not only investors but everybody. Even the assessors in the planning, gives them credibility, integrity, to administer the project.
Save time, save money, save frustrations.
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah.
But unfortunately that happened, and that's where we are at the moment with the project.
Okay. Well, we have, in this program, you brought up some very important issue. But I want to finish it off because we started with the mapping of how to apply, where to go, what are the stages. Any fees, do you have to pay money in all these stages that you go through? I mean, apart from mapping, yes, you have to pay your own, civil engineer and architect and...
There would, definitely there is a fee.
Right, yeah.
There's a regimented fee in terms of what you lodge on the day. The good thing is about the regulations on the fee was, if the planning authority is late,
yeah,
what is prescribed time sensitive, it gets a refund from the
get a refund.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And so where are we? I want to ask you this last question. With this, that's what we have at the moment. This is what we have at the moment. You can draw your plan. For those of you who are listening from overseas, you can work on your plan. But the plan, you must work together with the National Planning Authority, right? Because they might be building on a piece of land that is muddy or, swamp area. And also number 2, you'll have to go to the Ministry of Infrastructure. So there are a few steps. Sanitation, which is the health. Unfortunately, there's no one-stop shop at the moment, right? You got to move around, and if you don't know Tonga...
The thing with the act,
yeah,
it was envisaged, it would be a one-stop shop.
Right.
It'll be just like anywhere else overseas. It's very inconvenient for everybody to run around.
Yeah.
You just go to one place. That would be a later take when the act was fully in place, and then they'll import all authorities under the act.
Right, okay. So, but those are the process. But what we really want to urge the elections coming up, and this is for the good of everybody, Tonga. This is for the good of everybody, whether you're Tongan in the diaspora, whether you want to build a house in Tonga, you want to look after your family land, whether you want to build a business, whether it's on the sea. The sea is still defined as land in Tonga. And that's a point I think we need the investors to know. In the definition of land or whanua in the Kingdom of Tonga, it stands for the land, tukua, the land, the actual land, yeah.
Land,
sea,
sky, and the inland waters.
And the inland waters, right? Okay. Well, I'd like to, let me just sum up what we have talked about for you if you're listening to this program. We've been talking, this is the 4th program on Tonga economic development discourse. And in this series, this is series number 4, we've been discussing where do you start? Where do you start? It's a great point to know where to start. The town planner was actually not just a town planner, but Tukua was the one and only Tongan, I would say, who was qualified to be in the actual committee or the work to put together the building policy and the building plan. So having Tukua here is actually giving us the view of the expert. So there you go. Sanitation, fire must be included. If your building has got to do with environmental or social, then that must be done as well. And there are fees, of course, there are fees. But what we're really challenging our government that coming up, and I think this will go back to the hands of the people, we are challenging whoever's going to come up, have a look at this, that this is the second arm. So I think right now, we've only got one arm. Moto tau ni mata tole taha. O tau lotonga ufanga whakatapu. Tau lotonga ni ma pai tau tole taimin. We have the political reform and we have the economic development reform, but it hasn't been moved. Tukua, what is your challenge in the next 3 months for the people of Tonga? And it's about their livelihood. And it's about moving our nation forward. How are we going to challenge them to bring this alive? How can they help?
Well, I think for starters, they got the parliamentarian, the elections coming up. It will be very wise for those.
Very wise.
Very wise for those who participate to ensure that whoever you're voting for as a parliamentarian in your constituency, that they have a plan. And I think the days of just going to Parliament and having your own plan now and then, without going through this due process, are gone.
Okay.
There's money there, the money is from taxpayers' money. They must be accountable. And their role is to ensure that the candidates, whoever's running, must have a plan for their constituency. And that plan, they need to see it in black and white, planned out, and they must participate. All plans, you've got to participate. Okay? And if at the end of the 4 years, you sit down and you have your checklist.
You check it.
Yeah, you check it whether he's done what he's supposed to have done. Then you're, of course, parliamentary, there's debates. That's fine. They can do the debates.
Go and do the debates.
Go and do the debates. But what you need the plan for your constituent be done.
Being done.
If they don't do it, then find somebody that can do it. I think that's,
find another voter.
yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tukua. And we have come to the end of the program, but let me just wrap it up. So, Tonga economic development discourse, some very meaty stuff that have been brought up in the program, and we urge you, if you're listening to it, discuss it with your kalapo, with your church, have some great discussion. Ki tukua toha mea noa ia, ka tau discussi e tau go forward. So these are the points that's coming up to go. Economic development, o se tau act. We're not a jungle. Only in the jungle, tau nofu tai lao. We have a rule, we have policies that more than 20-something lawyers were brought in, expert. Now, kisia ke kifa feedback ki to ta pe ka ke ta futo kan ki ai. Na kuma na ko ki ta pe ta ngo fulu pe ta nima. Ta mai ya ku la fra hela. Kai. Ko hala whakahela. Ko lao nia ne o mai e fu toko ua fulu tupu ka loia ke nā mai o sioi. So the law has been made, ko e nok tū. Ko ta mea whia mau, I'm diverting to Tongan at the moment. Ko mo tolu koe ngā hei constituency. O kwa ho leo, ki hono whakalakalaka ho whonua. Ko whiri kono koko, e malawa ke ange ho palani whakalakalaka a au, economic development ai kolo. E kui kai ko palani pe tamako, e leri ki wharerea, palania a au. Pe koe langa e hala, pe wharerea e drainage, pe koe whare kok pe he, ka atoa umea ko ia, koe palania au te ke ange. Porque ne hau ko au ki wharerea koe re mo e pa anga, an ko klave ke atu koa, koe pa anga ko ia, pa anga ia me taxpayers money, ke whai aki ho whakalakalaka. Pa ko o sivi koe ai tamako ia, te ke sivi he oso no ta oe wha. Tu koe pe tipeiti ia, ko tipeiti ia ko meon ke whai. Alua tipeiti, po ka mea koko, ka ko foi palani koe ma ai kolo, ai ke pau, pa ai ke tau. He kai, e angea tukua ko whaasio ke kau leadership e ni. They go to work every day, and they just deal with that everyday happenings. But where's the plan to go forward, to move forward, te whare koea? So, ai ko pehe, o mahalo koe ha kau whakafofonga, whemo e kina pe I he tipeiti. Koe konga pe ngā ue, alua tipeiti. Ka ko poin whaketaha ko ke o mai ho tala noa, o kui kai koe nau alupe koe tipeiti. Pa kui kai koe nau alupe ki wharerea, he manatui ko livelihood ko ia o ku mahu inga at the end of the day, ho ki mo ui, mo family, at the end of the day koe tau mo ui o ku mahu inga. O kui kai koe longa a koe wharearea. Tu koe area ke nau whai, koe konga peti peti, ka ke tokanga koe, ki he mea koe na e whekau ke alo whai. Pa e kei, did you do it? Pa koe os koe ne tau e whapa tō mere varisi, ka haua tōl wha, nā ke whai e, koe whai ngofua ato ano strike. Ai kau tamai koe koe hei ke mea. Ka koe poin wha o sen tō kua ko wha amu. He koe ngau koe opportunity e come up, whether the government will be changed or not. O ko wha amu ke whakotu ue. I longa ha Prime Minister, e heka ki he sea. Pea ai a mua he koe o sene pureanga e ono. E fitu ake ta uni, o ka pau heka ke whakotu, a fu poti ko ui koe, ui anu isila koe City Council, o ke lepa kuia a seleria mo Amerika koe ha. Kau tau I tato koe National Planning Authority. Ke whakotu u ke turning ngai engine. How ki whama popo kia?
I think just wrapping it up in English, it's due. We desperately need guidance. Guidance that we all aspire to in our aspirations, our vision. Everybody participates. With a plan, we can get, and with the funds and that available, it can be done.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I think we will finish it off with this hope, note of hope. It can be done. So Tonga, it can be done. And Ronnie did, but one last thing that I want to bring up that comes to mind during the conversation. When I was in the bank, if there's any loan, the business of the bank is to loan to people. If there's a loan to a couple, and let's say they ended up separated and divorced, as soon as their relationship is broken, that loan is gonna fall through. And that's how I look at it, at the development in Tonga. So there are people, there are partners on the chair that they need to work together. You use the word harmonious to drive the economic development of Tonga. On the seat is the king. I know we're going to have a new PM, or might be the same one, I don't know. And it comes to mind that to drive the economic development of Tonga, the relationship between His Majesty and whoever that's coming up, it must be working harmoniously for the benefit of Tonga. I thank you for watching this program. We did advertise to watch the program on our new page that we have started, which is called AlphaOmega-AO-Tonga Economic Development. But I'm afraid at the moment we'll have to still record it live here, and we will transfer it to that page until we are fully qualified to go live from that page. We thank you. If there's anything you guys want to talk to us about, you've got Tonga's only town planner here, urban and regional. Ask us any questions, any feedback, because this is all for the livelihood of Tonga. Whamalot ka te ngautori ho mo mea mai, mo talanoa I ai polokalama koeni, mo share atu, o kumakatunga pe hano whakahoko I herea whakapiritania. He koe kau investoa, unau whietakoni mai, no langa ho tau whonua. Kau kai nau ilo pe kamata me whia. I he polokalama hoko tukua, ai utahiki I he tuisite, pea mo topulelo. Koia? E whahoko at lewaia, I herea whakatonga, pa e whahoko at lewaia, te tahoko at lewa, ki ha mea ke ke whaike I he pōtala noa. Whatawangi ke tukone atuenga te ngōtolu, I homo langa whakalakalaka. Hange koe mea ne lawe ke ai e lau, ai au kutu ai e town planner, all development needs consent. O whātu, may God bless you all, and thank you tukua, I ho o mai ho ilo, mo vai mai, mai tonga kotoa, toa whātu.